and gentlemen. Welcome to today's alumni podcast. Today, my guest is Stefanos Famakas, class of 1988. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
My pleasure. So, Stefanos, you are currently a TV producer, director, filmmaker, photographer, and public speaker.
I am indeed.
All of those things.
Exactly.
And you are currently working for CyBC, where you've been for over 30 years.
Yeah, 31 years in May. 5th of May, it'll be 31 years.
Wow, that's quite a career
Exactly.
path. I'm going to come back to that because I'm really fascinated
Okay.
about that life. But what I want to do is just give our listeners a quick rundown on a bit of history about you. So you have a Bachelor of Arts, BA Honours in television production that you did in the UK, an MBA that you did here in Cyprus, and you have been a producer and a filmmaker. Specifically, the movie that I found was Sunrise and in Kimmeria. Have I pronounced that correctly?
Sunrise in Kimmeria, yeah.
Okay. That one I'm really intrigued about. And I know that you worked with your brother Simon on that one.
Yeah,
Is that right?
he's the brains behind the whole thing.
Is he?
Yeah, because he wrote it, he directed it, and me and the older brother, because we own Photocine production studios, we act as producers to our younger brother's films.
Right.
He writes them, directs them, we produce them along, obviously, with the funding from the state, which is obviously a good thing.
Yeah.
Because you cannot make cinema without money.
Exactly. And that one was award-winning as well. I when I was reading about it, there was some incredible awards there. So you must be very proud as a family and personally for that one. So your father, Kostas,
Yes.
also a pioneer in photography in Cyprus and filmmaking. So in your teenage years, you spent a lot of time in his photo studio following around. And I know you did tell me about this before. So that I'm also interested in exploring that a little bit more. And so you also produced and directed a 4-day visit by His Holiness Pope Benedict to Cyprus.
Oh, yes.
That must have been
That was
something else.
insane. That was insane for different reasons.
I can imagine. But what an accolade to be able to do something like that. And something you probably cannot afford to mess up on, I'm sure.
No. I can expand on that if and when.
Yeah, please go ahead while it's on the...
Okay. The whole thing started... His Holiness was supposed to... he visited in June 2010, but contact with the Vatican was made with the head of security of the Vatican, Pietro, I remember his name. He sent me an email and we started because I was directing and producing the visit. I remember we started contact in January, so that's basically 5-6 months earlier.
Right.
And one of the things that stuck to mind was that he wanted me to send him from... We usually we know when we are working at CyBC probably 2 weeks before, on which day, on which program and stuff like that. If you're an editor or a cameraman, it goes without saying that directors, we have our own show, so we know when we're working. But it's not the same for the cameramen and the technicians and the editors and the lighting people, the sound people. But Pietro wanted to know from January, latest February, he wanted to know everyone's names, marital status. It was before all these private data stuff. And so he wanted to know everyone's names, age, kids, what they did, how long they had been at the station, at the television station.
Reasons,
exactly.
For security reasons?
Yes.
Right.
And he had told me if something changes along the 6 months following the visit, following towards the visit, going towards the visit, I mean, do let me know, because we have to run him through the systems as well. It was insane. And I was like, wow. Jesus, these guys are serious.
Yeah.
But you can understand why, because it was His Holiness the Pope. It was...
I've just seen the movie The Crucible, And now I understand a little bit more. Now
Yes.
you're talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, security
Yeah.
of I think he was probably, besides I'm not quite sure if John Fitzgerald JFK came to Cyprus. I think he did. I think he was one of the top figures, political, religious, whatever,
Oh, I'm
that
sure.
visited Cyprus.
I'm
And it
sure.
was for 4 days.
Yeah, right.
So it was,
Wow.
he had lots of commitments, and we were there filming all the time, security, being in touch with him. And I remember specifically, we were supposed, the liturgy of the Sunday liturgy, it was to be held in Eleftheria Stadium, which is a basketball stadium. And they literally ripped apart all the dressing rooms, the changing rooms.
Yeah, to check for.
And they made, no, they turned them into his headquarters.
Oh, right.
His Holiness headquarters.
For the 4 days.
With bulletproof glass and stuff like that.
Really?
And the last, yeah.
Is there that much of a threat on
Yes,
his life?
yes.
Wow.
And the last one going into the stadium, the last one on the left, it was supposed to be his private headquarters. I had to go. We were going to be filming, start to film with a Steadicam, which is the camera that's quite movable. If you've seen, you must have seen it. With the Steadicam, following his entrance into the stadium. So we had to see if the cable was enough. So we had to go towards his private headquarters. And I remember there was Pietro and 3 or 4 of the others, and they said, it was after he had arrived. He told us, if he's in, I think he's in, and he approaches you, you do not. There was not etiquette. It was, I guess, law or something.
Yeah.
Do not look at him in the eyes.
Really?
Yeah. Do not do anything. If he approaches you, do not under no circumstances do not shake his hand. If he wants to make contact with you, he will raise his hand. That's protocol.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And if you see that his fist is kind of tight, it means he has something for you. And we were like trying to keep everything in, not to mess up.
So nervous.
And it was me with, I was shaking.
Yeah,
I was with my Steadicam operator, and we went in. He was in.
Yeah, right.
And his apartment was as if it was a permanent apartment.
Yeah, right.
And he was kneeling. Obviously, he was praying. He got up and he came towards the door. And I said, there we go. And I stood still. And he actually went like that. And I said, okay, fist tight. He's giving me something. Are you sure? It was a split second. And I went like that. He put his fist on top of my arm and he dropped something in it.
Yeah, right.
I closed it and I stepped backwards out. And that was it. And we went outside. I was like,
oh my word.
I opened it up. And it was a mint coin.
Okay.
With his imprinted was embossed his head. Yeah. But it was covered like one of those that you're not supposed to touch with fingerprints and stuff like that. Yeah. I proceeded to lose it.
I shouldn't be laughing. That was supposed to be your good luck charm.
Yeah, it was one of the best experiences in my life. And I lost the coin that he gave me, the Pope. It was insane. Yeah. I cannot find it for the life of me.
What an experience.
Every time I move house or I move apartment, I try to find it and I never can.
Oh, dear. So for those of you who do or do not know Stefanos, he's been the main director producer for the 75 Minutes News at 8 broadcast on CYBC. And you were also offered the role of head of sport in 2015, which apparently you took for a short time. And then the end of the year moved into head of news and current affairs, director producer. So, and you, like mentioned before, you've worked on some films with your brother. There's one in the offing now that is
Yes.
due in 2025. Is that correct?
Yes. It could be 25, or we might have to move it to 2026 because our younger brother, he lives in Luxembourg, Simon, the director, the film director, as such. He's working on a political thriller of 6 episodes.
Oh, nice.
And it looks like it's getting the go ahead first.
Oh,
so we'll have
okay.
to postpone the film,
Yeah,
and because he's going to be busy show running that one.
Fantastic. So you have been responsible for a lot of the content and the organization of programs that's come into so many Cypriot homes on a daily basis, on a regular basis for 30 plus years. You've been there.
Yes.
Wow. So for those people who want to get into film and TV, we were just having a discussion previously about it, how difficult it is to move into this industry. Just tell me a little bit about what a typical day would look like, so we can give somebody an idea as a producer of a TV show. I mean, give me a rough idea.
Okay, that's that's the best thing about it, that you cannot predict your day.
Oh,
you cannot
okay.
predict your day.
Okay.
You may say that I've moved on from the news, from the 75-minute news, and I'm now I've gone back to directing the Saturday Night Live show, the music show.
Right.
It deals with major Greek composers. It goes on for 2 hours. We record that one every Tuesday, every Wednesday and Thursday. We edit.
Okay.
We edit parts that need to go out, like pauses between songs and stuff like that.
Okay.
I may know that I'm editing on Tuesday or I'm editing on Wednesday, but because it's different content and there's different challenges and there's different, it's never the same. So you kind of enjoy it. It's good fun.
Yeah.
Filming is also totally unpredictable. I mean,
Really?
Yeah, of course. You don't know what's going to happen during filming.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
Lots of things can happen.
Don't work with children and animals, right? Isn't that the rule?
Yeah, but I mean, wine spilling, dancer falling over, the violin, a chord of a violin going boing. It's not just in cartoons. It happens. Cartoons are based on real life.
Yeah. Okay,
cartoons are based on real life.
Ah, okay.
So you cannot say what are the. That's the beauty of being in this industry. It's the unpredictability of your day.
Right.
You've got no specific hours that you supposed to work. All that the management of your station expects from you is to deliver the final product.
Right.
If they want a music show, from me, they want the music show to be ready to air right after the news that they finish at 9:00 on Saturday night.
Okay.
All they're interested in is that they have the show ready.
Right. Okay.
Now, what precedes that 9:05 time, they're not really interested. You do it with your way, you do it with your rhythm, they just want it there. If it's not ready.
Yeah. So there's a lot of trust then. But
yes.
you've years and years of trust that's built up.
Exactly.
Which is why we were discussing how difficult it is to get into the industry, because how do you learn to trust somebody new if you don't? Because you can't afford to make a mistake.
No.
You're tight, your schedules, right?
Exactly. And it's like, it's TV, you're being watched. It's not as if just to stress the difference between, let's say, a bank teller. Okay, I'm not putting down that job, but it's a job. A bank teller may have to deal with, let's say, I don't know, 50, 100 customers per day. Your customers, my customers, they're in the tens of thousands. The people that watch the show can go up to 20,000 to 30,000. So I'm being judged by them.
Tough.
No, you get used to it.
No.
you just make sure that you don't make
everything is
mistakes.
right,
You
yeah.
don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
And that's for me personally. I find that it's a motive.
Yeah.
It's do it right, do it right, do it right, do it right.
What happens if you do make mistakes? I mean, what does that look like for you? I mean, you must have made mistakes earlier on in your career, or you
Yeah,
wouldn't
of
be where
course.
you are now.
Of course.
So, are you berated for it? Is it you just go, okay, let's learn and move on? I mean,
I probably made in my earlier years. I must have been something like 25 or 26. That makes it 2 years of employment at the. And let's not forget, it's the public broadcaster.
oh,
So
yeah, okay.
you know,
More pressure.
yeah, you're the
Yeah.
public. I must have been 26 or 27, and I made one of. It wasn't exactly a mistake. It was a domino of errors during live news,
Wow.
which News at 8 at CYBC, at the Cyprus Broadcasting Corporation, the public broadcaster, they are like the Holy Bible. You're not allowed to begin the news a second late, not even a second late or a second earlier. It's the news at 8.
Right.
We're pretty much like the BBC on this one.
Yeah, when the Big Ben goes.
Yeah, you have to be there. But I was responsible of causing a domino of errors that the person sitting on the right of the director said, what am I supposed to do? What am I doing? What am I doing? And I just said, flip it to color bars. Color bars are those.
Oh, yeah. I remember those, yeah.
And there were so many mistakes, one on top of the other, that I had no shot. I had no sound. I had nothing.
No.
From one mistake that I made, a little mistake, it works like a snowball. If you make one little mistake, that's why it's so adrenaline pumping. That time it's like, and we just went to color bars.
The stress levels of that job is like you're up, you're down, you're up, you're
exactly.
down.
Yeah, that's the fun of it. If you're not up to it, go do something else.
Yeah. I suppose like in
yes,
career,
that's the whole fun, because there's so many things, so many parameters that can go wrong. The sound, the cameras, the video that's going to play. The news presenter says, and there was an avalanche in Switzerland and blah blah blah. You play the video, and there's Donald Trump speaking in the US. Right. So it's the wrong video.
Yeah, right.
So what do? You have to prepare, you have to find the correct video, get it ready in seconds.
It's just so high pressure, right?
It is.
Goodness me.
But if it was otherwise, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You say, let's go to Berlin and hear George Papas. There was some news in the Bundestag. Yorgos, over to you. There's no Yorgos. The line has dropped. He's gone. he's not there. Yorgos akoume. We're listening. Yorgos. There's something wrong with the telephone line.
And it's always back to the producer.
Exactly.
It's the producer's fault, isn't it?
But during those few seconds, you have to. I had a good thing about the way I worked was I always thought of the worst, and I always had plan B.
Right.
And to younger producers and directors doing live shows, I always say, have a plan B. Have a plan B.
Okay.
Have a plan B.
Yeah.
It will take you a bit of shaking, but if you have a plan B,
you'll come out the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
Less scathed. Yeah.
But like I said, in the beginning, when I was 2 years, 25, 26, my plan B was to color bars, you know.
Sounds like a good plan B.
Yeah,
At least you
it
had
was.
one, right? At
Yeah,
least you had one.
exactly.
Wow. So a day in the life is never going to be the same, like you say. It's all very varied, and we can conclude by that there's certain personalities that will thrive in that industry, and there's certain personalities that probably would really struggle. What is your time at the English school? How has that contributed to this skill set that you have, or this character that you are, that enables you to manage these situations? Do you think?
I think that the main thing that I got out from my 7 years at the English school was discipline.
Oh, okay.
Disciplining yourself.
Mm, mm.
And being allowed within boundaries to be a free spirit.
Okay.
That's the way I say it.
Okay.
Going back to discipline, we were blessed. My generation was blessed to have Mr. Humphreys as headmaster. And I think that at the time we used to, not many people liked him because he was too strict.
Okay.
But in hindsight, you see now that it was probably he that instilled the first seeds of discipline inside
Wow.
of us.
Yeah.
And we talk about Mr. Humphreys a lot during our monthly reunions. I'll be 55 in March. My class will be 55 in March, and we still have monthly reunions. Or Souvlaki at the Esobga, or we meet up, and we still Humphreys is
Fantastic.
a lot of times,
really?
a lot of times inside in our conversations.
Wow.
Because he did so much for the school. He did so much for the students. I still remember his figure standing on the stairs, on the old stairs leading up to the headmaster's office, and just looking out down at the yard. Little did we know then that the way he was running the school would benefit us so much as adults. Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow. So what was some of the biggest challenges you faced at school? Being a creative spirit in what was perceived as a very academic.
I was a very, very shy person, kid.
Yeah.
Very shy kid. Right. I only opened up 15 or 16 years at 15 or 16 years old, but I started off very shy. I was one of the shortest in the classroom. I was one of the most timid,
Really?
Yeah, I used to blush a lot, I remember.
Really?
But then something just exploded inside of me, and I went to the other end, the bad boys of the school.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was one of the bad boys of the school. I think that switch happened when instead of studying for O levels, I started going to my father's studio and watching how you develop films, photography, doing black and white.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like skipping homework and going to the studio. That made me into a more an extrovert. Okay. More into an extrovert.
Okay, because you found your passion, or you were channeling?
Yes, I think so. Yes,
what you
I started coming out with my emotions, and that's why. Okay. That's how I saw that my father could trust me. So I started doing more, and then you open up. It's like a little, the shell of a clam. You open a little, until you fully open.
Yeah.
You bloom.
Yeah, right.
If you want to use a simile of a bloom, of a flower, you bloom. You open slowly.
Because you found something that was
exactly
that was connected.
I was
to
never into academics, to be honest. I was never into mathematics. I remember Mr. Boyajian, not the geography teacher, the mathematics teacher. My mother had him come over to try and teach me mathematics, syllabus B. I remember. I couldn't care less.
Yeah, right.
The only thing that interested me was geography. I enjoy geography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Earthquakes, volcanoes,
Yeah.
the earth.
Real earth.
And history.
Again, it's people, it's places, it's
Yeah.
Okay.
But I chose to do economics, mathematics, something else, and modern Greek for my A levels. I passed none. I only passed modern Greek with an A, but the other three, I got a U.
Oh,
U
wow.
means that, unclassified,
Ungraded.
unclassified, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a U guy.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, it obviously hasn't stopped you, has it? It hasn't made any difference to your life because you found your passion, and you followed that train. So how did you go from in your father's studio into this sort of line of work? Where did it, was this
It's a
that
natural
followed you?
progression, I think.
It is, okay.
It is. And you, once you like something, and we're four siblings.
Okay.
And we are all in this thing. We look and we feel exactly like our father and our mother. Our mother was English.
Okay.
We went this natural progression. It was like a speed train. It was like a bullet. Usually, because our parents were like that.
Yeah, right.
They were like fast-paced people. They were like no procrastination, nothing. No.
Wow.
Let's get it done now. Let's go there. What do you want to do? Let's go to the mountains. Let's go to the beach. It was like that sort of life. My mom was cooking dinner, and my father would come up with a whole filming crew in our house to film a commercial.
Wow.
This is like in 1976 to 1979, when our father introduced commercials, filming of commercials with film, 35 millimeter film,
Okay.
which was expensive, but it was an upgrade. Instead of the stills that you used to have for commercial, so-and-so shoes. And it was a still photograph on TV.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a different thing. It was moving images of commercials.
Wow.
And our father introduced this.
Wow.
And because there was not much money being thrown into advertising, we used the sets that we used to use, my father used to use, was our house on the beaches of Cyprus. I remember going to Ayia Napa in 1976.
They must have been dead then.
There was nothing. It was a coffee shop and 5 houses and the monastery.
Wow.
And who told my father to go there? Because there were some lovely beaches. Yorgos Kontinos, renowned painter of Cyprus, he told Costa, why don't you? I've come to this village called Ayia Napa. You should come. There's some lovely beaches. There's no one here. You can shoot your commercials. And he did. We went to Ayia Napa, and I remember it vividly.
Really?
I remember the road that's downhill now, going towards the harbor. Yeah, I remember it was like a little tiny road, the coffee shop on the right, and that was it. Then we sat at the coffee shop, and you had optical, you could see from the coffee shop, if you stood in the little road, you could see the only thing that existed back then was Nisi Beach Hotel, owned by Gigis Konstantinou, because you were higher in the village, and Nisi Beach was down on your right, diagonally on your right, Everything else was just fields, nothing else.
Goodness me.
And we shot a commercial, I think it could have been Dixan or something like that, some detergent or something.
You kids running along the beach getting
it was insane. That was it. It was great.
Wow.
But like I said, everything was unpredictable. Like I said before, that TV is unpredictable. Filming is unpredictable. I was unpredictable. Our parents were unpredictable. Like I said, my mother could have been cooking, I don't know, something at night. And my father would just arrive with a filming crew and said, well, we're setting up for a film. Costas, again?
Yeah.
Frankie, you're playing in it. And my mom would go.
Wow.
She was the model in My godmother was starring in the
Had a built-in
commercials.
talent pool in your
Exactly.
family, right?
Yes, because there was no,
Yeah.
there was no, you had no money
Yeah,
to
wow.
pay for, models and stuff like that.
Sounds like a really exciting family life that is just constantly on the go.
We've got the archives of the
Oh, I'm
commercials.
sure. I'm
Yeah,
sure. Oh, I bet that would be
they're
incredible
brilliant.
to
They're
see.
brilliant.
Yeah,
We
I bet they are.
we will donate. We donated much of our father's filming to CYBC
Okay.
because they are in collaboration with Google Archives
Oh,
and the
very
European
nice.
Broadcasting Union,
Yeah, right.
and they you give your archives to them, and they remaster the picture and
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sound,
Wow.
and they send it back to you so that you can archive them properly.
Very
And we
nice.
donated everything that my father did, the documentary, the first feature-length comedy called O Paraso Mascaras,
Right.
Money the Clown, that was filmed
Okay.
in 1969 with well-known actors
Yeah,
back then.
Mm-mm.
We donated that. That's everything is going for remastering and being put into
It's incredible that
into the
this company
CYBC
did it.
archives
Yeah,
called
yeah.
Herodotus.
Okay, okay.
Me and my father's partner George Katsouris, his children, we're very really good friends, obviously. We gave everything to CYBC to be except the commercials. We want to hang on to the commercials for a little longer, just to gather everything, because there's stuff that we don't know. There's film reels that we don't know. We still don't know what's on them.
And such an important part of Cyprus's legacy in terms of the adverts and the films and things that he did. That's incredible. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's history. It's history.
Yeah, the history. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to move on to a little bit. When we met the first time, we talked a little bit about your personal struggles and sobriety and your experience. And you are now sober 18 years?
18 years on the 27th of August.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
No mean feat. Well done.
Thank you.
Well done. And so you also do public speaking to youth and schools in around Cyprus. Can you elaborate a little bit more on your struggle and also what you're doing now to help society here?
Yeah, well, it's going to take us ages to talk about my struggle, but alcoholism is something that's not yet, I'm afraid to say, it's not yet given the proper attention from the state, from society, as it should. It's all over the place. 5% is nearing 5% of the population of Cyprus have sought help in matters dealing with alcoholism. 5%, Victoria, that I'll save you the maths, is around 50,000 people. Wow. If we're a million, that's 50,000 people have sought help.
Struggles. Wow.
What about the numbers that have not sought out help?
Yeah, right.
It's even more.
Yeah, and you've got to be very brave to seek help, right?
Yes. You have to admit it. And an alcoholic is a person that does not admit he's an alcoholic, as we all know.
Wow.
That's the first step to recovery is accepting that you have a problem and that your life, that's what the 12 steps of the Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't know how much people are aware of the existence of the so-called 12 steps of the Alcoholics Anonymous. The first step is accepting that your life is out of control and that you need help.
Right.
That is something because of an alcoholic's selfishness. I've been through it. I know.
Right.
I was so selfish. It's unbelievable. You don't accept that you're an alcoholic. You're in denial. You say, no, I can control it. No, you can't.
Right.
So the first step is that. But the problem nowadays is, not nowadays, it's always been like that. You don't accept it, and your family in the beginning does not accept it. And another twist in Cyprus's case is that if a teenager or a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old has problems with alcohol, the parents do also.
Right.
So who's
this traditionally, do you?
Yes. Who's going to help who?
Yeah. Right.
The parents are in denial as well. And going back to the figure 50,000, if those 50,000 people that have sought help have a mother, that's 100,000 people.
Doubles it immediately, right?
Doubles it immediately. If they have a father,
Yeah.
it's 150,000 people. We have a serious case of alcoholism in Cyprus.
Right.
But nobody, everyone turns a blind, it's... Just to mention, there's no... I don't want to be judgmental. I'm just saying, I'm stating facts. The last I had heard 2-3 years ago was that they had moved the rehab center, the so-called rehab center in Cyprus, the state-funded one. It had been moved in the psychiatric services of the general hospital. That's not the way to deal with alcoholism.
No.
And there were only 18 beds. 18.
Wow.
How do you get through that?
Yeah. Wow.
How do you deal with alcoholism? Printing brochures and stacking them up in school canteens and university libraries and in lyceums or what have you. You're not doing anything.
Yeah, wow.
No one's going to pick up and, okay, alcohol is dangerous. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's not it.
So how old were you?
That's what triggered me to say something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. And after I had given my first TV interview back in 6th of December 2013, it aired. So that's about 11 years ago. And I remember it was a colleague of mine, a director. He came over to me and he said, I'm doing a documentary on alcoholism. Would you like to speak about your alcoholism?
Yeah, right.
And he told me, don't worry, I'm going to pixelate your face. I'm going to use a pseudonym, an alias, and I'm going to alter your voice. That's techniques we use to hide an identity and so on. And I said, Kostas, if we're doing this interview, you're not going to hide my face. You're going to use my name.
Wow.
You're not going to alter my voice. No. And we'll do it. And I'll talk to you about my alcoholism.
Yeah, wow.
By the way, this is not red wine. Allow me.
Yeah, so how old
This is
were
beetroot
you?
juice.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's super healthy. How old
Exactly.
were you when you encountered alcohol?
It was all over the place in our house. Mother was an alcoholic.
Right. And is it starting younger here in Cyprus, do you think? Or
The age is going down.
In general around the world? Or?
11 in the world, throughout the world. But some countries have managed to sort of control the whole thing.
Right.
And for example, in the UK, it's becoming not the in thing to do. Drinking. And I was there in with my younger brother. We were there in late November, and it was quite obvious to me that people drink less.
Right. Okay.
So kudos to whatever they have done. Kudos to them.
That's good.
But in Cyprus, it's still. It's on the rise, and the age that people drink is going down. And according to ESPAD, which is the European School Project, something about alcohol and drugs, it's in the internet. You can find the latest figures, and the latest figures that I had read about Cyprus was that. The specific question was, when was the last time, or did you have an alcoholic episode? Alcoholic episode means did you get drunk?
Okay.
In the last 10 days. And the positive answer, as in yes.
Yeah.
In boys between 13 and 19, we were third in Europe. That's 39 countries. Wow. Plus the US of A.
Goodness me.
Third in Europe behind Austria and can't remember.
Wow.
And the same question was put to girls, 13 to 19 years of age, and Cypriot girls were fifth
Right.
in the whole of Europe.
That's terrible.
It's insane.
That's terrible.
It's insane.
So you're going around schools talking to youths at the moment.
Yes.
So.
It started quite. To cut a long story short, the owner of a dance school in Limassol called me up and she said, "I watched this interview of yours. This is the 2 years after my interview on YouTube. By the way, you can find everything on YouTube. If you put Stefanos Famakas alcoholism or something, you'll get a whole series of interviews." And she said, "Would you mind coming over?" She was like, sort of apprehensive in asking me, "Would you like to come and talk to the mothers of the kids that come to us to my dance school?" And I said, "Of course I'll come." That went on. That went brilliantly, and from word of mouth, it went to the schools, and schools from Limassol at first started calling me,
Okay.
and it went from there.
Yeah,
and the
wow.
biggest audience, for example, that I had to date, I've been to 36 schools.
Wow.
Which that a rough estimate of that was 20,000 students. Is 20,000 students. That is a lot. The biggest audience that I had, I don't like the word audience. No, I'll take that back. The biggest conversation that I had, the biggest number, the conversation with the largest number of members in that conversation was 450 at the grammar school in Limassol.
Yeah, right.
And at the Kikos in Lefkosia. And it's incredible to see. It's not a surprise to me anymore, but in the beginning it was insane to me, and it was incredible to see how much it hurt, how much they did not know. How much ignorance there was. But at the same time, you could see how interested they were, how much what my sentences told them, they triggered questions inside them, and they were like, hands up, asking questions.
Wow.
And they were like, "Seriously, sir?" Yes.
So they were fully engaged. Do you think they recognized it in themselves? Is that a sign to you that they recognize it in themselves?
If someone at such a young age, teenagers, you have not developed the mental skill of, I don't know if it's a skill or if it's subconscious, of denial.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is interesting.
Wow. Okay.
Because if you're a 15-year-old, if I ask an adult about, he won't admit it, that means he's in denial. But I'm not quite sure between the ages of 13 and 19 or 18, they have actually mastered that social skill, the mental skill of denial, or if it's maybe subconsciously it just comes out, "No, I don't drink." That's an outright lie. It's not a skill.
Exactly.
I don't drink. I don't have a problem with it. But you see, 15-year-olds. Come on, we see them all over Cyprus. They're out there. But then again, you go. It's like a domino, Victoria, because how does alcohol reach them? Someone sells it. Someone sells it to them.
It's around
it's
our
illegal
homes all the time, though, isn't it?
And it's in our homes.
Yeah.
So he may not be drinking at home, but he goes out to a kiosk and he buys.
Yeah.
Where's the law? Where's asking for an ID? How old are you? There was a research done by the University of Cyprus 4 or 5 years ago, just before COVID, I think.
Okay.
They sent out an 11 or 12-year-old, I think, to kiosks and mini markets, and they told him to ask for alcohol. And the results were, I think, 11 out of 100 asked him for ID.
Wow.
The rest of them just freely sold him alcohol.
Wow, that's outrageous.
It is.
What about the parents? When you talk to parents,
Oh
what
dear.
are the questions that they ask you? Because I mean, it's the worst nightmare as a parent, right? You blame yourself. It's what we do, when our kids are getting into sort of some sort of trouble, and you like, well, I didn't have it around the house, but it's not necessarily that. It's how the child feels, right? Or how they don't feel, or what they want to mask, or what they want to hide. What are the sort of bigger questions that parents ask you, or the most common ones?
I may be generalizing, but empirically, I can definitely say this. They don't ask much because they have a problem as well.
Right. Okay.
And they could be, there's a lot of reasons why someone drinks. I mean, with me, it was genetic. It was the way I was growing up. It was the more liberal way of growing up with the birth of media in the 70s around our house. Our father doing a different job than usual. It was my mother being English and having crazy English parties with all the English people in Cyprus coming to our house with a big garden and the bonfires and drinking and all that. So the last thing I wanted to arrive at was mimetism. Mimetism.
Right. Okay.
Mimetism is when you mimic.
Right. Your parent.
Exactly.
Okay.
Subconsciously or consciously.
Okay.
Consciously, if you're looking at your father and your mother drinking every day, you take it as an acceptable thing to do, especially back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, of course.
It's an okay thing to do, so I'll do it.
Yeah, right.
And I went clever on my dad once when he found out I was smoking when I was 15, and he gave me a nice big slap because we were allowed to do that back then. And I went clever on him and I said, you smoke, why shouldn't I? And he gave me an answer I will never forget. It still lingers in my mind and I will never forget it. If I'm being dishonest, do you have to be dishonest? Right. And I just shut it. I said, oh. Wow. He got you, Stefanos. Yeah. So in our house, there was always booze around, alcohol around. Our mother was alcoholic. She would start with beer at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. She would turn it to Bloody Marys and gin and tonics, and that went on throughout. But having said that, it wasn't. You cannot blame an alcoholic for drinking because she grew up in a house in the same way. My grandparents, my English grandparents were the same.
So generational.
And my uncles. Uncle Peter died when he was 49 from alcohol abuse. Or disease related to alcoholism. My Uncle Richard, the same. Everyone. My mom.
Wow.
She was 49, 50 years old. They were all gone.
Yeah.
And now the family, the Lambert family of my mom, of the mums, it's all gone from alcohol. Really? Disappeared.
Wow.
No one's alive. It's insane.
Yeah. You said to me when we were talking before, in your own words, you said that you have to make an argument against alcohol as a psychotropic substance, but at the same time not demonize it.
Yes, it's too late to go on a crusade of demonizing alcohol because it's been around too long. What should have been done centuries ago, specifically at the end of the 19th century, when information exists that the big alcoholic beverage making companies and tobacco making companies and the drugs, the opium, all this stuff, they had to decide, probably earlier, they had to decide, let's make one of these things legal.
And they picked alcohol.
Yeah, because it was already everywhere.
Yeah.
people have been drinking red wine since ancient Greece. I mean, Commandaria, Cyprus prides itself that in having Commandaria as the first sweet wine or alcoholic wine. I don't know.
Yeah. Sweet wine, yeah.
And that's thousands of years ago. But no, you cannot demonize it now because it's all over the place. And to demonize it, it's like you will get reactions.
Right. And that's not what you want from
No,
people, is it?
no,
absolutely
no.
not.
It's best if you make people aware of the dangers of alcohol use, and I'm being I'm choosing my words. It's not about alcohol abuse anymore.
Right.
It's alcohol use, because the myth has been busted.
Yeah.
Using alcohol, and I'm saying again, I'm not saying drinking alcohol, I'm saying using alcohol socially, and saying that it's okay, that myth has been busted by doctors.
Yeah.
It was in the Lancet magazine 2 or 3 years ago that no amount of alcohol is safe.
Yeah.
No amount. It's a chemical which is, and the World Health Organization has listed it as such, alcohol is a poison. It's a toxin. It's a chemical substance that causes so and so and so. So it's like I dilute, rat poison with water and I drink it.
Yeah. Or the hand sanitizers
just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
Okay, keep doing that.
Yeah. And the hand sanitizer that has alcohol in it.
Exactly.
Yeah. When you dig into it, it's actually quite punishing, isn't it?
Yes.
What we're putting inside our bodies and
exactly. It's so going back, instead of demonizing, I'd rather make people aware. I'm not a missionary. I'm not. I'm just if I am asked to speak about it, I will speak about it. But I will not go around, pointing fingers and say, "Don't do that, don't do that." That's not working. That's not working. Just make people aware, and if they have, everyone has a brain, obviously. If they want to use a brain and think, "Why am I doing this? Really? Maybe I shouldn't be doing this."
Yeah.
Let them figure it out for themselves. But as I can see, it's not working. That's not working either, because and we're going back to the 5% of the population. But I'm doing my best. I'm just speaking. That's all I can do.
Of course.
That's all I can do.
So, of 18 years of sobriety for you, you touched early on about creativity and that fuels you. Tell me a little bit more about that sort of creative side of your personality. And how do you fill that gap? It's 18 years. It's not a small gap. It's a big gap.
Yes. My creativity. I write poetry as well. I write poems. I love writing. I like writing my thoughts down. I like expressing my thoughts. I like expressing my feelings. I never keep anything inside. I'm that sort of a person. Everyone has holes inside. It's all about finding ways of filling those holes, those gaps.
Okay.
I fill them with my work, with filming, with photography, with writing poems, with playing or talking to my plants, or trimming my little plants, or cooking steaks, or barbecuing, or going for coffee or dinner with my daughters. But creativity, you just reminded me of something. Before I sobered up, what I used to write, you can tell if I give you all my literature now, all my poems. I call them poems. I don't know what they are. They're just, I don't know, thoughts. other people call them poems. And they said, Stefano, you're ready to publish. And that's why I'm going ahead and publishing
Amazing.
before the summer. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And I'm calling my book, I think quite cheekily, I'm calling it The Hippocampus and Amygdala.
Okay. Okay.
Obviously playing with the animal, the plant, the tree, and the cranial hippocampus and amygdala.
Of course. Wow.
All the feelings come out from there.
Yeah.
But I was saying, if you put them all and you read them, you will definitely spot where Stefanos sobered up.
Really?
Yes.
As in
Because
the darker thoughts?
Yeah, exactly.
Really? Okay.
And there was a lot of rage and a lot of anger in what I was writing before. I was talking about Jupiter. I was talking about rough seas. I was talking about volcanoes. I was talking about... but from rehab onwards, you can see a calmness, softness, love, acceptance, eroticism, romanticism, colors.
Yeah.
I use colors. It's such a huge
really
difference.
Different. So the rage or the anger inside you,
It's all gone.
But it was being fueled by the alcohol. So it was like a round robin, right? It feeds
Yes,
itself.
exactly.
It just feeds itself more and more, right?
Yeah. In Greek we call it Favlos Kyklos. One feeds round robin.
Yeah.
It's a catch-22
Yeah.
thing, because you're angry, and to numb your anger, you drink. But when you drink, you become angry. And you're only numbing those toxic feelings. They're not going away.
Doing anything about it.
Childhood trauma. It was there. It only came out in rehab, and we'll talk about rehab later if you want. But there's a beautiful saying that says, saying obviously says, to change your drinking, you have to change your thinking.
Oh.
But to change your thinking, you have to change your drinking.
Wow. So it is a no-win, really, isn't it?
Exactly.
And
it's like,
really got to, you've got to disrupt that completely.
Yes.
And a lot of that is physical as well, like changing environment, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's you have to change your friends. You have to change the places that you used to go. You have to change. You have to change your mindset. You have to decide it. It's what we talked about before. The first step of the Alcoholics Anonymous, from the 12 steps. You have to accept that your life has gone is spiraling out. And when I went into rehab, the doctors there, they were crystal clear. They said, the neurologist in Cyprus said it as well. When I went, I was 37, and like I said, it's 18 years ago now. The neurologist at one of the private hospitals, I went there with a Zimmer frame because I could not walk. I was half dead, Victoria.
Yeah, wow.
And I went, my daughter took me to the neurologist. I still suffer from alcoholic polyneuropathy, which is a numbness in my limbs. And he said, he told my sister, I remember, Dr. Protobabas, he told my sister, if Stefanos continues like this, I will come to his funeral when he's 40. And I turned, I was
3 years away from
I was, a vegetable. And I turned to my sister and I saw her crying. That was the first, beep, beep, something's wrong, Stefano.
Wow. It hadn't occurred to you up to that point?
No.
Really?
No.
It was just a part of your life. It was a
it
lifestyle.
was there. And okay, take me to the doctor, take me there, let them mumble, stop drinking, do that. I couldn't care less. I couldn't care about my daughters. Yeah, wow. That is sad. Yeah, it's not sad, it's tragic. It's criminal.
And that's what you said about the selfishness of being an alcoholic when you mentioned
all you care about is having alcohol around.
Wow.
That's all you care about.
Yeah. So the rehab and everything put you on the straight and narrow. Only one shot at rehab because Hollywood glamorizes it. It's like several
relapse.
shots.
Relapse is part of recovery.
Right. Okay.
Relapse, they say, and I know now, That relapsing is part of recovery.
Okay.
I started off with the rehab center in Cyprus. I was in for 4 months, came
4
out.
months.
Yep.
Wow.
December 14, 2006, I went in. 27th of February 2007, I came out. And then I was going in and out of the one in Cyprus, and that's when I told my younger brother Simon, we need to change what we call a geographical escape.
Right.
Take me somewhere else.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's when that's how I ended up in Greece, in mainland Greece. But there were adventures there as well, because I first ended up in a psychiatric asylum instead of a rehab center.
Wow.
It was like a prison. I was inside a cell.
My word. There's definitely a film coming here. Is your brother writing
There's a documentary,
this story?
actually.
Really?
Yeah, I prepared the documentary, and I'm waiting for the okay from my organization, Cyprus Broadcasting Corporation, to do it. It's a documentary.
I don't mean to make light of it, but the
with
story.
reenactments, which I will be playing
yourself,
myself.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's called Breaking the Bottle. That's a documentary. It's about 52 minutes. If I manage to squeeze everything in 2 minutes.
Wow.
But I ended up in a cell, like I said. They wouldn't allow me to a phone call or anything. I was just being peeled, like the film of 1975, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, with Jack Nicholson. If you're not mentally ill, you go there and you become mentally ill. It's that sort of, it was that sort of thing. And on the 11th day, they said, okay, you can have a phone call. And I called my brother Simon. I said, take me out of here. This is a psychiatric asylum. I need to get out. And I came back to Cyprus. I relapsed again. And then, bless them, I ended up at the rehab center that those 6 doctors that were there, that were running it, they saved my life.
Yeah, wow.
And I will be forever grateful to them. I still keep in touch with them. They saved my life because they were true to me. They told me, you're dying.
Right. Wow.
And what we're going to do, and it's a nice simile to mention, because people will understand what alcoholism and lots of other. It's also, let's not forget that alcoholism is not just a body illness; it's a mental illness as well. And it is an illness. No, alcoholism is not the illness. Addiction is the illness, and alcoholism or gambling or these are symptoms of the addiction. And there's so many. You can get addicted to just about anything. To computer games, to video, everything. You can get. So the World Health Organization has categorized addiction as the illness, and the rest are just symptoms. My symptoms, because of how I grew up, were they manifested in alcohol abuse.
So, I mean, now you're obviously in a much better place, and 18 years in recovery. If you could go back and tell your younger self something, your 15-year-old self, what would you say?
Beware of the dangers. Something that is not being said, not even today. So there was no information back then. So I don't know if I'm realistic enough. Wow, what a question.
Sorry to stump you there.
I don't think I would change anything. I'll switch it a little bit and say, I don't think, I would say to myself, live your life. Live your life, but be aware of the dangers. That's it. Because the way my life turned out from 15 to 37 has made me, as everyone, our experiences, however bad, however good, they make you the person that you are today.
whichever way it goes.
And I'm quite happy with what I am today. But when I wake up tomorrow morning, I will look at today and say, no, Stefanos, you can do better. So there's always, every morning I have this motivation, and I always have this voice in my head, be a better Stefanos than yesterday.
Okay.
And before I sleep at night, I always say, have you apologized to everyone that you needed to today? Have you said sorry to everyone today?
Wow.
Because alcoholics and addictive personalities, we tend to be very, very guilt-ridden people.
Okay.
We cannot live with guilt.
Right.
We drink
Yeah.
guilt.
To hide that. Yeah.
So you need to get it out.
Yeah,
You need to get it out, and it's all. And that goes for all the toxic feelings as well. I cannot afford to be angry. I cannot afford to be rageful. I cannot afford to have revenge inside of me. I cannot afford to have fears. Fears are the mother of all emotions. It's only natural it's human to get angry.
Yeah.
It's human to fear. But it's what you do with those emotions.
Yeah.
It's what you do with them. Like I said before, I go home, if I'm tired, if I'm hungry, I will take one of my flower pots, put it on the table in front of the TV, one light on, and start, playing with it, clipping. That relaxes me. That helps me.
Rather than reacting to the fear and the rage, right?
getting rid of all the. And another thing that we don't pay much attention to is communication with the person next to you. We have lost. I don't think we ever had it. Maybe the ancient Greeks had it. Communicating with the person next to you, on a level, because it's very easy to start talking BS with someone, but are you able to hold a conversation, a proper conversation of a level with someone? Can you do that? Do you do that? Does it inspire you to do that? Do you like learning from the other person? Do you like teaching the other person? I've got a tattoo on my back that says in Latin. It's from a school it's an inscription on a school in England, St. Prepys. Is that how you pronounce it? St. Prepys. Prepys, something like that.
Okay.
And it says in Latin, teach me, learn from me, or go away.
Right.
That's what human communication should be about. I'm going to be leaving this podcast and I will have learned about you. Even if you don't realize that you have given me something, you have.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it works both ways. If this mental exchange doesn't happen, then what sort of a person are you?
The art of communication it seems like it's dying.
It's dying, of course.
Yeah.
Especially in the last 20 years with the phones and the stuff like that.
Exactly, absolutely. So let me circle back to your career a little bit. Tell me something that you're most proud of in your career, not personally, but something that you're really, really proud of career-wise.
I think having the best teacher in my job, who was my father, because we were like, as kids, we're like sponges, kids are sponges. Watching filming and photography and I knew before I went to study, I had the basics already instilled in me, the basics of photography, of cinematography, of colors, of correct framing, of composition, the color palettes. I already had it. So I was a step ahead of the rest of the students in England.
Wow.
And I think I was blessed. I was blessed that, like we said before, it was a natural progression into this profession. But when you spend your teenage years preparing yourself to go for those studies, which are specific studies, you're a step ahead. You're a step ahead. So, I think the question was who
what are you most proud of? Yeah, and it's your father being.
And my most proud. The most proud. My most proud achievement was that my employers saw from the first couple of years that I had it.
Right.
I had it.
Yeah.
And now, 31 years after, I know I have it.
Yeah.
And it's not. I don't think it's people demonize other people who know and talk about how good they are. We shouldn't demonize that.
No.
If you're good enough and you have the self-awareness that you are good, it's not arrogant to say I am good at my job.
Yeah.
Why are we so? I know I'm good at my job. Yeah. I can see it.
You wouldn't be there if you weren't.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I can see it.
Yeah.
I'm at the stage in my career. I'm finishing. I'm retiring in 7-8 years. So I'm at the stage where I can teach others. Mm-hmm. So I know that what I do is not without mistakes. Of course. Okay, because it's the nature of the job. I'm at the stage of my personal development and my professional development that I know who I am, Victoria. I know what sort of person I am.
Yeah.
One of the hardest things that I was asked to do when I was in rehab was call your best friend, they said, and ask them to text you your 5 worst character traits. My best friend is my younger brother Simon. Mm-hmm. And I texted him and I said, "Oh my God!
I don't even want to try and imagine that.
What's going to come back?"
Wow!
And I was scared.
Of course.
Because basically, the person you love most, the person you trust most, is gonna give you 5 traits of your character that he never told you about, that he knew, but he never told you. And I got those 5 traits.
Wow. And that helps you to
I gave them to my psychotherapist.
These
are, we start work with these ones.
Yeah, right.
Those were the 5. And there were quite a few. I don't want to go into them.
But those things help you find out who you are.
Yeah, I think the ultimate this odyssey, which is called life. If I can, it may sound cliche, but your Ithaca should be the journey, like we say. It should be to every day that you wake up to make sure that you're a better person.
Yeah, than you were yesterday.
And that you discover something that you still do or you haven't paid proper attention to it, that you need to work on. Self-improvement it's the ultimate. Yeah. I cannot stress it enough. Because if you just go with the flow. I find it boring to start with.
Yeah.
If you're not self-improving,
exactly. What do you do? What does your day look like? So, I mean, in terms of your career and what we were just talking about, what information would you have or advice you would have for any budding filmmakers, producers, anybody that wants to go into your line of work? What would you say to them?
To be ready to work incredibly hard under very difficult conditions. Being ready to the media industry is how do you call it? It's ruthless. you will get stabbed in the back. You will be people will put down your work. You just have you need to have the strength and the courage to believe in yourself. I think it's in general, in life in general, you need to believe in yourself and keep going. If you fall, get up. Believe in yourself, and make sure that you are learning every day. Do extracurriculum learning. Don't just learn. Don't just use the stuff that you learned in university. Make sure that as time progresses, your industry progresses as well. Technology progresses. Make sure you're up to date. That's how you will make the difference, because once you start work, many people just they just sit back and they say, okay, I've got my work, I'm working, I'm getting paid at the end of the month. I don't care. No. Make sure, especially in the media industry, in television, in cinema, in theater, make sure you're up to date with everything. With every trade, with every trend, with every and prepare to work weird hours, especially in cinema. Weird hours, that means filming for 18 hours, going starting work at 11 o'clock at night and finishing 6 in the morning, and then having to be on set noon.
Yeah. Wow, tough.
It's insane. It's insane.
Right, well, on that note, I'm going to wrap up. So I would like to say thank you so much, Stefanos, for sharing your personal journey and the hard, difficult experiences that you've had in life. I will put your Instagram on the show notes for anybody that's interested, and unless you want to share it now as well.
It's Stefanos with an F, full stop, Famakas with an F again.
Okay, perfect.
But you can post it as well. Okay. Also, if people need some advice on alcohol abuse, people call me a lot, so I would encourage them, because 3 words. You asked me so many things, and I've tried to answer everything, but I'm sure I have this tendency of jumping from one point to another, and then it's like when I when I Google something, I go from one thing and then I press that link and it takes me.
Rabbit holes.
Exactly.
I do a lot of rabbit holes too.
See, I forgot what I was going to say.
Help, asking you for help. So you're open if people need to message you. Okay.
Yes.
And I guess the other thing I was saying is we have covered some very challenging topics in today's interview. So if you have been affected by any of these topics and you want to reach out for help, there's the Drug Law Enforcement Unit, Cyprus Police 24-hour drug information helpline. That is 1498 for assistance. Or there's also the Cyprus National Addictions Authority Information Helpline, which is 1402. There is also Cyprus Samaritans, which is 8000 773. They're open daily from 4 p.m. till 12 a.m. And these helplines are all staffed by trained professionals who are ready to help you and refer you to appropriate services. I will also put that information in the show notes.
There's also AA groups.
AA groups as well.
Yeah, there's English-speaking AA groups. There's the English-speaking one, I think it's in Livadia, in Larnaca. Okay. You can find them online, the AA groups. But I would encourage people to... first, accept that they have a problem. Don't be afraid. It's doable. I'm a living example that you can get out of alcoholism. Like I said, there's AA groups all over Cyprus. It's a first step, but the most important first step is accepting that you have a problem. That is crucial.
Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.